So her name is Kelly Green, and I know that sounds fake, but I promise it's not. We met in high school, and we got along immediately, and we dated for like 2 months, and then we broke up with no real reason. So we didn't talk for about a year, and I went off to college. I did my first year, I came home, and we got in touch again and picked up right where we left off. Things were good for a little while. We hung out with my friends, we went to concerts together, we did all the fun stuff you do when you date somebody. But things were not good at her house. Her relationship with her mom was really tense, and I saw that firsthand. She would fight all the time, and I would be there, and I'd be like, "You're having a screaming match across your house. Should I, go?" But I didn't. So I wasn't surprised when I got a call from her one night that said, "Hey, my mom kicked me into my house, and I don't have anywhere to go." So I talked to my parents, and of course they let her stay with us because they loved Kelly Green. They probably loved her more than they loved me. So she stayed, and the next day she worked things out with her mom. I brought her home. Everything's great. For less than a week. I got another call that said, "I've been kicked out, and now I think it's for good." So I had a slightly different conversation with my parents, and they let her stay with us. They said, she can stay until she gets a job and somewhere else to live. So she does. 2 things start to happen. The first is that she opens up to me about tons of really heavy stuff that I had no idea about, most of which is centered around her time in Israel. She said she was born in Israel and spent the first several years of her life there, and a lot of really bad stuff happened. 2 things stand out. The first was her grandfather. She said she ran out of cereal one morning, and her grandfather went to get her more and died in a bus explosion, a terrorist attack. The second was that she had an older brother, and her older brother came out of the closet, and her parents didn't accept that. So when they were out one day, he jumped off a bridge in front of her and killed himself. Like I said, really heavy stuff. But we got very close, and she told me lots of stories like this. The other thing that happened was she did nothing. She didn't look for a job. She wasn't trying to go to college. She was a year behind me, so she just graduated. And she wasn't looking for anywhere else to live. She started picking fights around the house, just like random little bickering things so that she could be right about something, and just got really annoying to be around. So I went off to college, and I moved back to campus, and it took about a week or 2 before I was like, wow, my life is so much better without her around. I'm going to break up with her. So I did, while she was living in my house, which my parents were not happy about. So a couple weeks later, I get a call from my dad, and my dad doesn't use the phone. So I get a call from my dad, and he's like, "Can you come home from dinner tonight? We need to talk." And my heart just sinks. I'm like, yeah, of course, I can do that. So I finish up my day, and I go home. I drive like 45 minutes back to my house. And I get there, and Kelly's gone. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, well, she left. She lives with her dad now. And I'm thinking, her dad's a monster. Like, from everything that I've heard, her dad sucks and would never lift a finger for anybody. But that's what happened. My parents found him in the phone book, which you do when you're old in 2004. And they talked to him, and he was great. And we explained the situation, and he was like, yeah, of course she can come live with me. That's absolutely, don't even worry about it. So I thought that was that, the end. But my dad said, there's something you should know. And I'm like, he said, so I talked to her dad about all these stories that she told us. And I said, so tell me about Kelly's older brother. And he said, what brother? See, unbeknownst to me, my mom was helping her find a job and got a copy of her birth certificate in the process. And she was born in Connecticut. She was not born in Israel. She never lived in Israel at all. And every story she ever told us was completely false. I know it's tempting to make the takeaway here. Don't trust anybody. Everybody's terrible. Anybody could be lying to you at any time, ever. But don't do that. Don't do that. I think that every time we choose to trust somebody close to us, we do so knowing that they could be doing that. They could be lying to us about absolutely everything. And trusting somebody is an act of faith. And I think that's beautiful. Thank you very much.